The civilian world is too quiet. You've been back for 6 months, and the civilian crawl is starting to feel like a slow-motion car crash. You are sitting in a booth at a diner where the air smells of burnt grease and cheap syrup. Across from you, people are talking about their weekend plans, their mortgages, and the local sports team. You try to listen, but their voices sound like static. You are 32 years old, a veteran of 3 combat tours, trained in advanced ballistics and small unit tactics, and currently your most important task is deciding which brand of detergent to buy. You are overqualified for every job in your hometown and bored by every person you meet. You feel like a high-performance engine idling in a school zone. You aren't living, you're just waiting for something to happen. Then your phone buzzes. It's a call from a number you recognize, a guy you served with in the Kunar Valley, someone who stayed in the game while you tried to go soft. You step outside, away from the chatter. He doesn't waste time with small talk. He mentions a security consulting firm based out of North Carolina. They need guys who don't need training. They need guys who can handle the heat. He mentions the pay, $600 a day. Your brain does the math instantly. That is more than a month's rent in a single week. You don't ask about the mission profile. You don't ask about the location. You just ask, where is the plane? 48 hours later, you are standing in a nondescript office building tucked away in the pine forests of Moyoc. The air is humid and smells of gunpowder and rain. The lobby is empty of art, of branding. There's only a receptionist who looks like she could strip an M4 in 20 seconds. You are handed a stack of papers thicker than a phone book. This is the contract. It's a masterclass in legal disappearance. By signing, you acknowledge that you are a private citizen, not a soldier. You acknowledge that if you are captured, the government will not come for you. If you are injured, the company's liability is limited to a one-time payout. You are signing away your rights to a trial, your rights to a public identity, and your rights to a normal life. You are becoming a Blackwater operative, a ghost on a payroll. You pick up the pen. Your hand doesn't shake. You aren't signing for the money. You're signing to feel the adrenaline again. You're signing to be relevant. You press the pen to the paper and finish the last line. The receptionist takes the folder, nods once, and tells you your flight leaves at 0400. You walk out into the humidity. The civilian crawl is over. The game is back on. Welcome to the desert. You are standing on a strip of asphalt that leads to a place the map calls Camp Victory, but all you see is a horizon of shimmering white heat and dust that tastes like rusted metal. This is level 1. Your world is 12 feet wide, bounded by 2 concrete T-walls and a heavy sliding steel gate. You are no longer the elite soldier you were 2 years ago. You are a $600 a day gatekeeper. Your primary weapon isn't your rifle. It's a laminated checklist of authorized license plates and a handheld scanner that beeps with a high-pitched, mocking tone every time a local truck approaches the wire. The reality of the job is a crushing physical weight. It's 112 degrees by 9 a.m. The sun is a predatory animal searching for any patch of exposed skin to burn. You are wearing full body armor, a ballistic helmet, and a tactical belt that weighs 30 pounds. The sweat doesn't just run down your back, it pools in your boots until your feet feel like they're rotting in a swamp. You spend 12 hours a day staring at the same shimmering line of sand. You watch the heat waves dance off the hoods of white SUVs. You watch the dust devils spiral across the flats. You are bored in a way that feels dangerous. You start to name the rocks. You start to recognize the specific patterns of dirt on the local supply trucks. You feel like a mall cop who happens to be carrying an M4, and the absurdity of it gnaws at you. You left home for this? You signed away your rights to stand in a furnace and check IDs? Every truck that approaches is a puzzle. You look at the driver's eyes. You look at how the vehicle sits on its suspension. Is it heavy with gravel or heavy with explosives? You perform the same mechanical movements hundreds of times a day. Step forward, hand up, check the ID, scan the underside with a mirror, wave them through. Repeat. The local drivers look through you as if you were part of the gate itself. To them, you aren't a man. You are a mechanical obstacle in a charcoal gray uniform. You begin to lose your sense of time. The days bleed into weeks, marked only by the shifting shadows of the T-walls. But then, you learn the lesson. It happens during your second month, when a Level 3 team screams through your gate in armored Suburbans, their vehicles peppered with fresh bullet holes and their faces covered in the gray soot of a close-call IED. They look at you with eyes that have seen the noise, and for the first time, you understand the value of the silence. In this world, boredom isn't a failure, it's a luxury. If the gate stays closed, everyone inside the base lives another day. If you don't have to pull your trigger, you've won. You realize that the $600 isn't just for your tactical skill, it's for your ability to maintain 100% vigilance when nothing is happening. You are the wall, you are the filter, and until you can master the discipline of the dust, they will never let you out into the street. You've graduated from the dust. The company has moved you from the static security at the gate to the high-speed chaos of the run. You are no longer watching the horizon. You were driving straight into it. Your new office is the driver's seat of a black, up-armored SUV, and your new reality is a stretch of highway the guys call IED Alley. Your pay bumps to $800 a day. It's a 33% raise you'll spend entirely on caffeine, nicotine, and the mental tax of staying alive in a 3-ton metal box. The job is simple. Move a high-value asset or a supply shipment from point A to point B through a city that wants you gone. But the skill isn't in how fast you can drive, it's in how well you can read. You develop the science of atmospherics. You develop a sixth sense for the rhythm of the street. You look for the absent normal. On a typical Tuesday, the local market is a riot of color and noise. If you turn a corner and see the stalls are closed, that's a signal. If the children who usually throw rocks at your bumper are suddenly missing, that's a red flare. If a man on a moped is looking at his watch instead of the traffic, you've already been timed. You learn to see the invisible lines of a trap before the first shot is fired. Driving an armored vehicle is like navigating a submarine through a crowded bathtub. The glass is so thick that it distorts the edges of your vision, giving the world a green underwater tint. The steering is heavy. The braking is sluggish, and the heat inside the cabin, even with the AC blasting, is a wet, claustrophobic blanket. You are constantly gaming the road. You avoid the fresh patches of asphalt that might hide a pressure plate. You scan the trash piles for wires. You never stop. Stopping is death. If a car stalls in front of you, you don't wait, you push. You are a shark in a suit of armor, and if you stop moving, you sink.
The stakes change forever the first time it happens. It's a Tuesday afternoon, a routine transit through a residential district. Then, crack! A sound like a sledgehammer hitting a mirror. A spider web of white fractures blooms on your windshield, centered exactly where your head is. A sniper's round. The armored glass holds, but the vibration rattles your teeth. Your heart rate spikes to 140 and stays there. You don't scream. You don't even brake. You floor it. You realize in that split second that the security of the vehicle is an illusion. You aren't safe. You're just harder to kill. The $800 a day starts to feel like a bargain for the people sitting in the back. You realize that from now on, every time you turn the key in the ignition, you are gambling your life against the atmospherics of a city that never sleeps. You've left the dusty convoys behind. You've been hand-picked for the High Threat Protection, HTP detail. This is the suit work. You trade your camouflage fatigues and your dusty plate carrier for a tailored charcoal gray suit and a low-profile earpiece. You are no longer protecting a shipment of water or a crate of ammunition. You are protecting a human life, usually a diplomat, a high-ranking general, or a corporate executive whose presence in the war zone is a political necessity. Your pay stays high, but your visibility reaches its peak. You aren't just an employee anymore. You are a shield. The shift is psychological as much as it is physical. In the convoy, you were a predator in a pack. Now you have to be invisible yet omnipresent. The suit isn't for fashion. It is designed to hide the kit. Underneath the jacket, you have a shortened, suppressed rifle slung tight against your torso and a high-capacity sidearm on your hip. You have to move with the grace of a valet while maintaining the lethality of an assassin. You stand in the corners of ornate government palaces, in the back of press conferences, and at the elbows of men who negotiate peace treaties. You look like a businessman, but your eyes are constantly sectoring the room, looking for the glint of a lens, the bulge of a vest, or the one person in the crowd whose hands aren't visible. The responsibility is a cold, heavy stone in your stomach. At level 3, you realize the brutal math of the HTP world. You are a target of opportunity. The enemy doesn't want to kill you. They want to kill the person standing 6 inches behind you. You are simply the obstacle in their way. This creates a unique kind of pressure. If the asset dies on your watch, you are a professional failure. Your career is over, and your name is blacklisted across the industry. If you die protecting the asset, you are a statistic, a line item in a corporate insurance claim, a silent star on a wall that few will ever see. You are paid to be a human sacrifice if the situation demands it. You learn the diamond formation. You learn how to use your own body to create a physical barrier between a sniper's nest and the asset's head. You learn the principal's habits, how he walks, how he reacts to loud noises, and how to physically manhandle him into an armored car without looking like you're attacking him. The stress isn't the loud bang of an IED anymore. It's the quiet hiss of a door opening when it should be locked. You are the shadow that never leaves, the silent guardian in a suit who knows that every handshake the asset makes is a potential compromise. You have become a professional ghost, standing in the light so that someone else can stay in the lead. The suit is gone. The gate is a distant memory. You've been pulled from the visible world and dropped into the black bag division. At level 4, you aren't guarding property or people. You are the tool used for direct action. This is the Tier 1 level of the private sector. You are hand-picked for missions that sit in the gray space, operations that are too politically sensitive for the regular military and too dangerous for local forces. You are the plausible deniability of a superpower. If you succeed, the client wins. If you fail, the client never knew you. The work is surgical and nocturnal. You spend your days in a windowless ready room and your nights in the back of a high-speed boat or a low-flying helicopter. You're tracking high-value targets across borders that don't officially exist. You are performing night raids on compound hideouts, using thermal imaging to see through walls and suppressed weapons to end conversations before they start. You are a ghost with a high-end toolkit, folding drones that fit in a pocket, encrypted frequency hoppers, and subcompact rifles that pack the punch of a sniper. You move with a small 4-man team. You don't speak over the radio unless it's a trigger word. You move like a single organism, clearing a house in 40 seconds and disappearing before the local police have even put on their boots. The pay is the peak of the mountain, $1,500 to $2,000 a day. You are earning life-changing money, but you're spending it on a life you can't tell anyone about. You are the elite of the elite, but you are a secret. You have performed missions that would earn a soldier the Medal of Honor, but your only medal is a wire transfer and a fresh magazine. You carry the weight of unattributed victories. You know exactly who was responsible for the quiet collapse of a terrorist cell or the sudden return of a kidnapped scientist, but you have to sit at home and watch the news credit local authorities or unknown actors. The psychological toll is the adrenaline debt. You have become so used to the high-stakes precision of a Tier 1 raid that the normal world feels like it's moving through molasses. You find yourself checking the wind speed when you walk to your car. You find yourself clearing your own kitchen every morning. You have reached the top of the ladder, but the air is thin and the moral haze is thick. You are a professional predator, a ghost on the payroll, operating in a world where there are no front lines, only targets and timelines. You have finally stepped out of the hot zone. The black bag raids and the midnight extractions are over. You're back in the States, sitting in a glass-walled conference room in an office park that looks like it belongs to a software company. You are now a senior consultant. You trade your night vision goggles for a laser pointer and a set of PowerPoint slides. Your job is to take 20 years of survival and turn it into a curriculum. You are the architect of the next generation of hired guns. You design the training programs that teach young men how to read an ambush, how to drive an armored SUV, and how to disappear into a crowd. The weight of this role is a different kind of burden. You stand at the back of the training range watching a group of 24-year-olds in fresh tactical gear. They're loud, aggressive, and hungry for the run. You watch them sign the stack of papers you signed in North Carolina all those years ago. You see the excitement in their eyes when they hear about the $600 a day starting rate. But you look at them and you see the math they don't know yet. You know that statistically, half of them won't make it to level 4. Some will burn out after their first tour. Some will lose their edge in the heat. And some will simply stop existing in a dusty alleyway that the world will never hear about. You are the one handing them the pen, knowing exactly where that signature leads. The isolation is the trade-off. You have the millions in the bank, you have the stability and the safety, but you have lost the ability to relate to anyone who hasn't seen the noise. You sit at neighborhood barbecues and listen to people complain about traffic or office politics, and you feel like you're listening to a foreign language. You are a man who has authorized life and death decisions, and now you're being asked for your opinion on lawn care. You have the money to buy anything, but you can't buy back the version of yourself that didn't know how easy it is for a life to end. You are a senior consultant, a master of a trade that makes you a stranger in your own home. The cycle has come to a full stop. You are officially retired. You are sitting in a quiet suburban living room where the air is perfectly temperature controlled, and the only sound is the rhythmic ticking of a clock on the mantel. You have the millions in the bank, the clean record, and the freedom you told yourself you were working for. But the silence is deafening. It is a heavy, ringing vacuum that makes your skin crawl. You find yourself sitting in the dark, staring at the front door, waiting for a threat that will never come. You've spent 20 years learning how to survive in the noise, and now that it's gone, you realize you don't know how to live in the quiet. The final question haunts every room of your house. Was the $2,000 a day worth the man you became? You look at your hands, and you don't see a veteran or a success story. You see a tool that was used until it was blunt. You have traded your identity, your memories, and your peace of mind for a number in the bank. You have become someone who is more comfortable in a war zone than a grocery store. You are a ghost inhabiting a life that feels like a costume. Then your phone pings. It's a sound that cuts through the suffocating silence like a gunshot. A new message from a random string of numbers. No greeting, just a location, a rate that is higher than anything you've ever seen, and a new name for your passport. You feel your heart rate stabilize for the first time in months. The adrenaline debt is calling for payment. You don't hesitate. You don't call anyone to say goodbye. You walk to the closet, pull out your pre-packed bag, and check the action on your sidearm one last time. You're not going back because you need the money. You're going back because the man you used to be is dead, and the ghost only knows how to move in the shadows.